Hello everybody, this is something a little different than normal. I normally post my Pokemon opening and kind of like investing stuff for shorts, but I wanted to make a little bit more of a longer form video of what I think is the best thing to invest in for the trading card game. I personally have invested in some of these things, and they've been doing really well so far. So if you're interested, keep watching through this, and I'll break down why I think. For most of them, some of them I think are going to be self-explanatory, so I won't touch on them quite as long. But without further ado, we'll get into it with Scarlet and Violet. I think that set, the base set, the original set, is horrible. There is barely anything that's worth it in it, and for some reason, its booster box is worth like $270. And if I mention a price, it is as of recording. It's early October, so if things change and switch, then I can't really control that. But I don't know how it's worth that much. The card in it that is worth the most is a Gardevoir EX card, and that's it. It's worth about 50 bucks. I think it's ridiculous that it is worth anywhere near what it is. Then we'll have Paldea Evolved. I really think that this one's pretty good. You have the Magikarp in it. You have one card. Now, there's a Tyranitar that's worth about 50 bucks. There's an Iono. There's a Raichu that's worth a little bit of money. But you gotta have that Magikarp if you want anything that's worth it from that set. And it's really hard for me to say, oh, invest in this, so it's only one card. But I don't know, it's a little bit harder to say for that than it would be something else. And now I'm going to be putting these in order on the tiers as well. I think Obsidian Flames is going to be the lowest. It's a C tier. I don't know what else to say. I think it's better than Scarlet and Violet in almost any way that you can think of it. However, the Charizard EX, like the chase of the set, is worth like 100 bucks. And it's actually a little bit less than that. And I'm not looking into PSA 10s or anything like that. I'm more talking raw cards at the moment, just because if you need to rely on a PSA 10, you're in a really bad spot for what this is going to be going forward, because you always have quality control issues. So even if you pull that super rare card, whatever it is, there's not the guarantee that you are going to be getting something that's worth it. And I'm going to be diverging from a lot of the community, I think, on this. I think 151 is mid. The only reason I think people will like it in the future is because it is a 151 set. It's based on the original Pokemon. Now, do I think it's getting some hype kind of around the world? Yeah, the brand new Pikachu and Gengar Chinese exclusive is considered 151. You also have the Psyduck and Pikachu for the another 151 set coming out of China, if I recall correctly. Those are some pretty hyped cards, and China seems to be really moving into 151 more than they are the rest of Scarlet and Violet, so that would make sense that the prices would keep going up. But you have the Charizard, and I'll be honest, when it comes to Charizard arts, that one's kind of mid. And I think people are going to start realizing that more and more, because I truly think that we're kind of in a bubble when it comes to investing in Pokemon cards. I think the Blastoise sucks. He's literally just underwater. I think the arts aren't very good, except for maybe that Zapdos EX, number 202, if you know what I'm talking about. That one's only worth about 90 bucks, but I still think it is the best art in the set. And now we're going to move on to Paradox Rift. I'm going to put that ahead of Obsidian Flames. Paradox Rift kind of sucks. It has one or two like pretty good cards in it. You have Garchomp, you have Roaring Moon EX, but the number one is the Groudon, and it looks phenomenal. However, it's worth about like 90 bucks, and you can't really put yourself in the same category as some of these other ones when you just have like one that's close to $100. And I think that's going to be something I come back to consistently throughout this. Now, the number one so far is Paldean Fates. Bubble Mew is a phenom on its own. I'm pretty sure it has a market cap of a couple $100 million based off of just PSA 10s. Now, I know it may seem hypocritical, the fact that I said we're not going to be going just off of PSA 10s. Ungraded, a raw English Mew EX, the Bubble Mew, is worth $660. And that's not even talking about a grade 8 is worth like $550. It's still crazy. And then you also have a Charizard, you also have a Gardevoir, you also have a couple other cards that are worth over $100. And I think that is really what most of these sets are lacking. You have one major card from a lot of these lower tier sets that they're good, don't get me wrong. I love Magikarp. Magikarp probably one of my favorite cards from this entire kind of Sword and Shield, or not Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield's going to be something I talk about probably later on from Scarlet and Violet era. It's probably my favorite card, if not one of my favorite cards. And the reason I thought of Sword and Shield also is because I love the Giratina from Lost Origin, and the same artist that did the Magikarp and Paldea Evolved is the one that did the Giratina from Lost Origin. But moving forward, Temporal Forces is going to be in the D tier. If there was an F tier, I think I would probably put it in there. Honestly, this needs renamed from D tier to avoid at all costs. I spelled that wrong, but avoid at all costs. There's a Raging Bolt in there that's worth a little bit. There's a Gengar EX that some people like, and it's not even like a super in-depth version of it. And it's really just not worth it to get into. Now, Twilight Masquerade, I have trouble saying which one's better out of Twilight Masquerade or Paldea Evolved. And that's only because they are very similar in how they're set up. They have one really good card. And of course, Twilight Masquerade, I'm talking about the Greninja EX. It's worth about $340 at time of recording. And you have a couple other cards that are right around or a little bit over $40 to $50. And it's the same thing for Paldea Evolved. They both hit that same, we are having an iconic Pokemon. Greninja is one of, if not the most beloved Pokemon from anything after, say, I don't know, Black and White, just because it was one of Ash's Pokemon, and that's how so many people know it. So it's one of those, like, we need to look and see what is driving it. These ones down here, except for, like, Obsidian Flames, like, okay, Gardevoir is the one that highlights Scarlet and Violet, which is really weird because it's not a Scarlet and Violet Pokemon. But, I mean, also 151 kind of runs the gauntlet just because it is the most iconic Pokemon, the first generation of them. But you have Charizard. Obsidian Flames absolutely flopped because all it was Charizards that people care about. And this is October of 2025 when I'm recording this. I'm going to see Phantasmal Flames come out pretty soon. And I'm wondering if it's going to flop just because all it is Charizards and Gengar. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a little bit more variation than Obsidian Flames, but still, I think we're having a kind of collector-wide Charizard fatigue compared to where we were a couple years ago. Logan Paul didn't just buy his PSA 10 base set, shadowless, whatever the hell it was, Charizard anymore. Now we're looking more at, say, Moonbreon. We have a ton of people, and I'm going to be talking about Prismatic a little bit later, but you have a change in what type of cards and what Pokemon we are chasing nowadays. It's not just the orange fire-breathing lizard that's going to be making you money. And all that to be saying, I'm just going to put Shrouded Fable here. It is an absolute garbage set, except for the Persian and the Houndoom. I love the look of the Persian, the one that's looking out the window, and the Houndoom I think looks pretty cool. Now, if any of you guys actually play the trading card game, which I do as well, of course, if you've seen any other videos on this channel related to Pokemon, I open packs, I sell packs, I also play the trading card game. Fezandipity EX comes from this set. And that kind of pains me because a card that is good in the TCG is like the 5th highest value card in this entire set, which is awful. And that's only because it's used in TCG. It's just the EX one. It's not even the special one that is in the highest of this. So moving on, we'll go to Stellar Crown. And Stellar Crown's okay. It's like the highest in the C tiers, and that's because you have Squirtle, you have Bulbasaur, and you have some really cool looking arts, but the Bulbasaur and Squirtle are less than $90. They're not anything super crazy ungraded. And I'll admit I'm kind of biased towards the Bulbasaur because I pulled one of them. I found a lot of packs at Walmart that were actually discounted because nobody wanted them. Stellar Crown was right before you had kind of that Pokemon boom that got to the point where you couldn't buy anything, and I really think that kind of cemented itself with Surging Sparks and Prismatic. So moving to Surging Sparks, you have some great cards in it, and you have the Pikachu, you have the Latias, you have the Latios, you have more Pikachus because it's the Pikachu set. There's always a Pikachu set. You look back to Sword and Shield, and there was Vivid Voltage. And I'll be honest, I got Surging Sparks and Vivid Voltage confused because there's always a Pikachu set. There's always going to be something to do with the yellow rat. I don't know what to tell you. And it has a few cards that are over $100. And the chase card in Surging Sparks is worth over $300. And the reason this is above Paldea Evolved is because you have those other kind of follow-up cards. You don't need to get just the chase card to get a card that has value in it, which I think is very important for people. And the whole point of this is kind of the investing in the cards. And if I'm going to buy, say, a booster bundle or a booster box, I'll go the whole way out, or a booster box case or something like that, I want something that I know people are going to want in the future. I know there are people right now that have bought up all the Prismatic Evolutions just because they're chasing that Umbreon, they're chasing the Espeon, they're chasing the Sylveon, they're chasing the whatever Eon because there's so many of them. And it's hard to get. Now, the pull rates in Scarlet and Violet are not very good. I mean, they're nothing near, like, say, Crown Zenith or something like that, where you have the chance to get something really cool because of the fusion of, like, the Trainer Gallery and, like, that into the set as well. We just don't see anything that is really bringing up these pull rates, and we aren't, able to risk as much when we're paying a couple $100 per booster box. I mean, I recently bought a Mega Evolution booster box right on the day that it came out. I bought it for way over the MSRP. I bought it for $270. It's still about $300 because people want those gold cards. And I'm going to get back to that premise in a little bit. Prismatic Evolutions is the number one of this. I don't know what else to tell you. Everybody loves the Evolutions, and I don't think that's ever going to change. Similar to what I was saying about how Charizard is no longer number one anymore, Charizard is still up there. He is still, or she, whatever you want Charizard to be, whatever it pops out of the egg as. But you are not going to get rid of the Evolutions. There's no chance. And Prismatic Evolution is Evolution City. It's all of them. You have the chance to get God packs that are worth more than booster bundles by themselves. Now, the chances are extremely low, but the fact that the community knows that there are God packs means there is always that chance. Even if I were to drop all of my money on one booster box, I could make all of it back and more with one God pack. So I don't think there is a better thing to put your money in than Prismatic Evolution. And that brings us to the next one. I think Journey Together is better than what people give it credit for. I don't think it is as good as Twilight Masquerade. I think it's taking the community a little bit longer to warm up to Journey Together than it is really anything else. And that's just because that was kind of the Empire Strikes Back. Like, the collectors of the community didn't want to buy the scalped items anymore. They scalped the hell out of Prismatic. They scalped the hell out of Surging Sparks. And we still see that. And unfortunately, it's still going on. I finally found my first in the wild pack of Mega Evolution today. And Mega Evolution came out over a week ago. It's because so many people are just going in there, grabbing stuff off the shelves, and not leaving anything else behind for anybody else. And I am going to apparently hold on to it until the price of a single sleeved booster pack goes up to $50. Which, newsflash, it ain't going to happen for a lot of these sets. These ones down here are not going to get to $50. But you, for some reason, are hoarding all of them, so literally nobody can chase their favorite cards out of this. What if I want the Persian from Shrouded Fable? You're not going to make any money off of Shrouded Fable. Keep that on the shelf so I can buy it if I want to. But that was one of the biggest things, and I know I made a Star Wars reference for Empire Strikes Back, but that was more of the community hates scalpers. That was less of a movie reference and more of a phrase that I wanted to use. I really like En's Reshiram. I think that the stamped promo looks great, and I'll say full disclosure, I have a booster bundle of Journey Together just sitting there, just waiting, just holding on to it, because I truly think that this set is going to do really well. I don't think it's going to do quite as well as the ones up here, but I do think it is going to do great. Now we'll move to Destined Rivals. I don't think Destined Rivals is going to hold up very well over time. Right now, I think we're in way too much of a Destined Rivals bubble. Everybody, for some reason, wants to buy Destined Rivals. Hell, there hasn't been a reprint of it just yet, and it's been, what has it been now? It's been about 5 months since the set came out, so I think people are FOMOing into Destined Rivals. And I think that's a bad thing. I don't think you should FOMO into a set that just came out. Same thing with Journey Together. I mean, these two came out pretty close to each other, and it had a very similar reaction. People scalped it all. Then Destined Rivals didn't really do anything. Now, don't get me wrong, Destined Rivals has that Misty Psyduck. My favorite card of the... Okay, arguably in my top 3 of my favorite cards in the entire thing, because I did say I really like that Magikarp, is the Ethan's Typhlosion. I love that card. Ethan's Typhlosion, my first game was Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I played as Ethan, of course, I'm a dude. I picked Typhlosion, or Cyndaquil, then into Quilava, and then in Typhlosion. That was my starting into the entire Pokemon kind of, I wouldn't say community, because I didn't interact with the community up until very recently, into the games, and kind of into the Pokemon lore, we'll say. So, I get it. It's some good cards, but they just don't, I don't think Mewtwo and Misty Psyduck will be able to hold up Destined Rivals forever. I love the set. I think it's a good Team Rocket set. I think it's a good trainer set. Maybe even a little bit better with more well-known trainers than Journey Together. I just don't think at the end of the day you are beating some of the waifu, types of things from Journey Together. Now there is Marnie in there, and I hate saying that because it's weird. At least I think it's weird. The most expensive card that I ever sold was Lily. It was a full art Lily from, I think it was either Team Up, or it was one of those from Sun and Moon. I sold it for $250, and now it's worth about $500. I made more money than that card would have appreciated over the years, but it is so weird to me how people are just like, oh, I'm collecting the young 14-year-old girl cards. But the thing is unfortunately that's making money. That's how some of these people buy things. So kind of to get away from that a little bit more, I do think the trainer aspect of these cards is really cool, and I think that we are going to get kind of a resurgence of that in the next, maybe not 2 or 3 sets that come out, but maybe in the next era of cards, because I don't think Mega Evolution is going to do that as much, just because you don't have as many of the mainstream people that have it. Now, if they release Ash's Pokemon, like there was an Ash's Greninja that came out a couple years ago as a promo, I think that would do numbers. If there was Ash's Pikachu, if there was Ash's whatever, you could go with any of his Pokemon that he's ever had, and I think it would do amazing. I think that set, if he had Ash's Charizard, whatever it would be, that would break the community, and I think people would be paying buku bucks just for that. Now we get to the final one. I think this is one of the most underrated sets. It's a co-set, of course. Black Bolt and White Flare. It's a great set, and now it's weird because of how big the sets are. They're actually very small, but together they're an okay size set. Nothing super crazy. They added in the monochrome cards. The black the black Zekrom, the white Reshiram, and the red Victini. That was the segue into the gold cards in the Mega Evolution. We are now getting, it's not necessarily a new rarity just yet. It's the hyper rare, whatever they're calling it. It's a new type of card. It's the same thing that many other card games have had now. It's the solid gold, the solid red, the solid blacked out cards, whited out cards, redded out cards, whatever you want to call them. It is new, and I think it's such a novel idea with this set that it is going to do great long term. I do think Black Bolt and White Flare will do better in Surging Sparks, and I do think that this order is going to come pretty close to true. Now, there might be some movement. You might see Paldea Evolved up here long term, or maybe Twilight Masquerade up here. I do think this entire era was kind of mid. You had some absolutely amazing ones. I know a lot of people like 151. I'm just not a fan of it. I don't think it's going to do as good long term. I think people are FOMOing into it right now. I first saw my first set, or my first actual packs of 151. It was like for $15 a pack at one of those like weird retail stores in the malls that like sell like the Japanese toys and stuff like that. I am not paying $15 for a 5-pack of cards from Japan. I'm not paying $15 from that. There is no way that I would do that. And one of my things also to point out is Prismatic Evolutions just came out with, I forget exactly what it's called, but it's for the Lucario EXs. It's the same size as Blooming Waters, and it's only a little bit cheaper. The fact that the 151 packs inside of Blooming Waters are worth so much more than what Blooming Waters is kind of selling for right now, and I really hate to say that, Prismatic is meeting, and in some cases beating 151 in terms of the FOMO for it. And that's why I think Prismatic is going to do the best. And I will, full disclosure, I do have 9 surprise boxes just sitting in one of my dressers, keep the elements and stuff off of it. But I think this is how it will end out. I put way too much time into researching card prices and looking through it. I know Shrouded Fable is the worst. I love the Persian from it. Scarlet and Violet is not very good either. I have the Gardevoir from it. I have the chase of the set, and I sent it off to PSA. Temporal Forces is mid. Obsidian Flames, it's the Charizard set, but we are going through a Charizard fatigue. I don't know what else to call it. Paradox Rift, mid. Stellar Crown, mid. Destined Rivals, I love the set. It's probably my favorite set here, personally. I just don't think it's going to do as good. Journey Together, I think this is my long shot call. I think it will do great. I think it will do really good, and I think it is going to defy expectations. Twilight Masquerade, I think everybody thinks it's going to do good because of the Greninja. Same thing with Paldea Evolved. I think everybody thinks it's going to do good because of the Magikarp. And I'm having a hard time believing that it's going to do great because of a single card. Move Up to Surging Sparks, has multiple cards in it, is doing great. 151, multiple cards in it, doing great. This is my true long shot pick. I have Journey Together and Black Bolt and White Flare. These two, I think, if there's going to be any type of upsetting in the order of what cards are worth the most, it is going to be these two long term. Paldean Fates, already established, great set. Bubble Mew runs this ship, and Prismatic can't argue with the evolutions. But if you sat around for all 25-ish minutes of me rambling on about cards, I appreciate your support. It's important, at least in my opinion, if you are buying these cards, please leave at least something on the shelf for that kid that walks in there and wants to try to collect cards. That is my motto when I do it, or my principle that I hold myself to. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of the word. I don't want to buy everything. So the kids that actually enjoy collecting in the hobby can't. And I was that kid. I know a lot of the people that actually care about this were those kids as well. And I know this hobby has become so money based. In fact, that's what the entirety of this video is about. I'm telling you what I think is going to make the most money. But I do think that we need to watch out for the people that actually care about this hobby and to not try to scam the ever living hell out of them to the point where they do not want to be in it anymore. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I might do some other content like this in the future. Thank you.